Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vitvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. Wish everybody a very happy and auspicious Deepavali. The whole world is celebrating this wonderful festival of lights, of the destruction of the ego and rise of greatness and glory. The rise of the light of consciousness is being celebrated all around us. So may this Deepavali bring us all material prosperity and spiritual unfoldment. So we will look into this Panchadashi chapter 5, Mahavakya Viveka, distinguishing between the meaning of the great statements or the Mahavakyas. This is the shortest chapter in Panchadashi. It contains around 8 verses, for 2 verses for each of the 4 Mahavakyas in the Vedas, in each Veda. So, what is this Mahavakya? Mahavakya means the great sentence. There are sentences and sentences. Sentences are a combination of words with punctuation marks and they give a meaning. What makes a sentence a great sentence? Is it because the sentence is very long? In fact, all the 4 Mahavakyas are very short sentences. So what makes it a Mahavakya? The Mahavakya has got a word meaning, a literal meaning, and an implied meaning. So we have to take the implied meaning of the Mahavakyas, and wherever the literal meaning of the Mahavakyas do not resonate with the implied meaning, then the literal meaning has to be given up and the implied meaning has to be taken in those places. So Mahavakya is a sentence which reveals the oneness between the individual, who is a jiva, I, the knower, doer, enjoyer or sufferer is a jiva, and the infinite reality or the Brahman. Even if the infinite reality is pointed out, or even if the jiva is pointed out separately, it does not become a Mahavakya. Only when the jiva and Ishvara are one, only when that meaning is given, that statement becomes a Mahavakya. There are many Mahavakyas in the Bhagavad Gita, in many other texts, there are Mahavakyas. In many Upanishads, there are Mahavakyas. But these 4 famous, great Mahavakyas are taken from the 4 different Vedas. The first Mahavakya that's taken up for discussion is Prajnanam Brahma. This Mahavakya is from the Aitareya Upanishad, from the Rig Veda. The Rig Veda contains it is the biggest Veda which contains all the words in the form of poems. The words of praise, the Brahmanas, the Samhitas, the Aranyakas and the Upanishads. They contain in the form of poems in the Rig Veda, and it is very big And it is from this Rig Veda, part of the portions of the Rig Veda have been taken into the Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, and the Sama Veda. This, so we will go into the verses and then we will see the meanings of them. Yenekshate shrunotidam jigrati vyakaroti cha swadvaswadu vijanati tat prajnanam udiritam. So this Mahavakya contains two words, Prajnanam, Brahma. So the first verse of this chapter explains the meaning of the word Prajnanam. Prajnanam means Prakrishta Jnanam. Prakrishta Samshaya Viparyaya Rahitatvena Jnanam. The Jnanam or the knowledge which is free of doubt, Samshaya, and Viparyaya, which is free of erroneous thinking. For example, if I say this is a clock, then I know it is a clock, but is that Prajnanam? It's that Samshaya as an utility object. Clock as a utility object, it is general, it's common, we know it's clock. But is it Prajnanam? Is it Samshaya, Viparyaya, Rahita Jnanam? Samshaya means doubt. Viparyaya means erroneous perception. We have so many doubts about this clock. What is the quality of this clock? Whether the battery is full or empty, or what time of the country, which part of the world is the time being shown. I don't know the mechanics of the clock inside. I just know it is a clock, but I don't know completely about the clock. So if I don't know completely about something, it is not prajnanam, it is ajnanam, it is ignorance. Even if I don't know 1% of something, I am ignorant of that object, especially the self. Prajnanam means I know it completely, I know it free of any erroneous thinking. So what is erroneous thinking? Erroneous thinking is, if I see a seashell on the seashore, then if I think that it is silver because it is something appearing shining in the sunlight, and I go and pick it up thinking it is silver, and suddenly God has been so kind on me that He wants to make me rich, and He has strewn the seashell, the silver pieces on the seashore, and I go excitedly start collecting them one by one, and I see it is not silver but it is a seashell. So thinking that seashell is a silver piece is erroneous thinking. So without erroneous thinking and without non-thinking, or without not completely, by completely knowing and with no erroneous thinking, when I know something, it is called prajnanam. So what is the meaning given here? Yena ikshate shrunoti idam, that by which the eyes see, the ears hear the objects. Jigrati, the tongue tastes. Vyakaroti, the mouth speaks. Swadu, aswadu, jigrati, the nose smells. Vyakaroti cha, the mouth speaks. Swadu, aswadu, vijanati, the tongue knows between what is tasty and what is not. Tat prajnanam udiritam. It sounds very simple. It sounds like what we already know. What is the big deal? Where is the need to write a shloka on this? The tongue, of course, tastes. The eyes, of course, they see. The ears, of course, they hear. We know that. The nose, of course, smells things. But actually, if we see clearly, if we observe, it is not because of the nose that we smell. The dead man also has a nose. The dead man's nose, no smell goes in. The sleeping man also has a nose, has eyes. Sometimes eyes may be open also. Ears are always open, the tongue is there, the skin is there, but the sleeping person cannot feel all these objects of the senses. So what is it? Yena ikshate. By what is it that the eyes see? The Kenopanishad also says, Kene shitam patati preshitam manaha, Kena chakshumshi pashyati, sorry, Kena yat chakshusha na pashyati, Yena chakshumshi pashyati. What is, by what means the eye see? By what means the Yos shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyat vachoha vacham sahu pranasya pranaha. So the Kenopanishad talks about it. Here, yena ikshate shrunoti idam jigrati. By that means by which the ears hear. There is a power behind the ears, and that power is only enabling the ears to hear. In fact, it is not even the power. It is that light of consciousness that activates that power, that illumines that power, that energizes that power. That light of consciousness, the presence of that light of consciousness illumines that power, sense of power behind the ears, and because of that, the ears are able to hear. Because of that sense of power behind the eyes, illumined by consciousness, the eyes are seeing. Because of that power behind the nostrils, nose, illumined by consciousness, the nose is able to smell. Because of that power within the tongue, illumined by consciousness, that illumined by consciousness is the most important for all this. Even that power is there. When the body dies, the power is there. But still, it is not illumined by consciousness. And so that person, that individual is not able to taste, smell or touch anything with the help of the tongue. And the skin, that power behind the skin, illumined by consciousness, is enabling the skin to feel. That power in the mouth, illumined by consciousness, is enabling the mouth to speak. Vijanati, swad vijanati. That power is prajnanam. Prakarshena jnanam udiritam. It is called prajnanam. Pra means very well, clear. When I see this light above me, it is very clear that I am seeing light. So that power to see, the ability to see, the awareness that is present is called prajnanam. Chaturmukhendra deveshu manusyashva gavadishu Chaitanya mekam brahmataha prajnanam brahmamayapi. So we will ask, what is this prajnanam? Do I have prajnanam? Or do only great people have prajnanam? Do only the gods have prajnanam? Don't I have prajnanam? Then what is the use of studying about something which I don't have? No, we also have. Who all has prajnanam? Chaturmukha Indra Deveshu. Chaturmukha is Brahma. That Brahmaji, the creator, creates because of that consciousness. The creator sees, hears, tastes, smells and touches because of the presence of consciousness. The creator speaks because of the presence of consciousness. Indra is the king of all the gods. That Indra speaks, hears, tastes, smells and touches because of consciousness. Manushya, all the human beings around us, what is empowering them? They are able to see, hear, taste, smell and touch with the help of consciousness. Even blind people who cannot see, they are actually sensing what they are seeing. What they really need to see, they are knowing because of the presence of consciousness which is illumining the other sense organs. In the case of a visually impaired person, that sense organ is not in touch with that energy, that prana, and so that supply is cut off. Otherwise, it is consciousness that enables them to know even the things that they cannot see with their eyes. They come to know and understand along with others, sometimes even better than people who can see. So Manushya, then we have all the animals like Ashwa, the horse, and Gava is the cow. These animals also see, hear, taste, smell, touch, and they experience. They are also expressing with their mouth. They make sounds with their mouth. Whatever form of communication they have, they do it. How are they able to do it? With that help of consciousness. Chaitanyam ekam. There's only one Chaitanya. There's only one consciousness. Is there many? Is consciousness many or one? Chaitanyam ekam. That which gives Chaitana is called Chaitanya. Chaitana means that which enlivens, that which illumines, that which provides life, that which provides light is Chaitana. Ekam. That light is just one. For who? Brahma taha. From Brahmaji. Prajnanam. Brahma. From Brahma taha. Prajnanam Brahma. That Brahma, that word is that which is prevalent everywhere. Prevalent everywhere means like electricity is prevalent everywhere, but it is experienced when it is harnessed through the transponder, through the electric cables to our plug point, and from the wires into the object that we want to electrify. So if the Brahman is everywhere, that Brahman is that which gives prakarshena jnanam. In our understanding, what is that Brahman? That Brahman is I. That I, that awareness, that consciousness, which has, this I has got nothing else. Like the sun, this I does only one work. It is a thought that is filled with consciousness, and the thought illumines every other thought. And that is, since it's illumined with consciousness, this I is referred to as Brahman. The I thought is Brahman. And this I thought gives us prajnanam, prakarshena jnanam. If I want to find a solution to any problem, I have to move from the problem and focus on the I that is watching the problem. I focus on the seer. That is why you have Nandi looking at Lord Shiva. You have Garuda looking at Lord Vishnu. You have the lion looking at Ma Durga. You have what is it called? This bandicoot looking at Lord Ganesha. So in the same way, this I thought, it is endowed with consciousness, and so it has the ability to look into. It looks into itself, which is consciousness. When it looks into itself, Brahma, this I and Brahma are not two different things. And when it looks into itself, it becomes a Brahman. And becoming that Brahman, this I is having the power to shine its light on all our thoughts, feelings, and emotions within. My api, it is not only in Brahmaji, in the Devas, in Indra, in the cows, in the horses, animals, and other insects, but also in me. My api, prajnanam Brahma. This Brahma means I. We say I for everything, no? That I only. There's no different I. That I which we refer to, sometimes we refer to as the body, the mind, the intellect, but this I is actually I. It is identification. It is not when it's not identified with anything, it is alone by itself. Then that is the Brahman. The next two verses talk about Aham Brahma Asmi. This Mahavakya in the Brihadaranya Upanishad of the Yajurveda. Brihadaranya Upanishad is a very big Upanishad. And in this Yajurveda is more, it explains more about how to do rituals. So this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is filled with different types of meditation using different rituals that we perform in our day-to-day life. And this Mahavakya, Aham Brahma Asmi, means I am Brahman. If we put it in normal English translation, I am I, because I is equal to Brahman. There is a small boy who was attending a Vedanta camp in Coimbatore, Chinmaya Gardens, and that boy was a star attraction in that whole crowd because he seemed like children in whatever atmosphere they are, they imbibe that atmosphere very easily. And so he was walking, talking Vedanta throughout. And somebody asked, "Who are you?" He said, "I am I. I am I." So that is the truth actually. I am that infinite reality, the truth, the Brahman. Paripurnah paratmasmin dehe vidyadhikarini buddhe sakshitaya sthitva spurannahamitir Paripurnaha. Pari means complete. Purna means filled. Pari means all around. Purna means filled. Paramatma, the supreme I. What is the supreme I and what is the ordinary I? The ordinary I usually refers to this body, mind, intellect when I say I. The supreme I is that I-hood of everybody. That feeling of I-ness in everybody is the supreme I. Like mother refers to our mother, but motherhood refers to the motherhood in all animals, human beings, insects, other creatures. The motherhood is there. There is motherhood. So that way, Paramatma is that I-hood or I-ness in everybody and everything. This I is the Aham, the other I is the Aham. Both are one and the same. There is nobody can be a mother without motherhood in them. That motherhood is what makes a mother a mother. But for experiencing motherhood, one does not need to be a mother. So this Paripurnaha Paratma Asmin Dehe Vidya Adhikarini. This supreme truth alone in this body is the adhikari for knowing. When can I know something? I can know something only if I have that capacity to know. The mind, the body, and the intellect are inert. They don't have the capacity to know. They are enlivened by this consciousness. And so this consciousness alone is the adhikari, vidya adhikari, is fit for knowing who it is or who am I. And where is that consciousness? Asmin dehe. It is everywhere, but in every place, it does not have that capacity. In this body, in this human body, it has got that ability. In the animal body also consciousness is there, but no animal is available, no animal is capable of knowing itself, because that ability to think and ratiocinate and analyze is not there with animals. It is there with this human species. Vidya adhikarini. Buddhehe sakshitaya stitva spuran aham itiryate. This I, this Paratma, Paramatma, Buddhehe sakshitaya stitva. It just remains as the witness of the intellect. What is the intellect? The mind is a flow of thoughts. The thoughts may be of many kinds. It may be shaky, it may be disturbed. All different varieties of thoughts are contained in the mind. But when there is a flow of steady thoughts in the mind, sometimes the river can flow gurgling around. It can flow in many, many different patterns. But sometimes when it is harnessed for idle power, the flow of the river is very sharp. The flow of the river is very powerful. That is only the buddhi. That is only the buddhi in the sense of thoughts. When the thought is flowing in a steady stream towards one direction with so much of intensity, it is buddhi. When the same thoughts are just relaxedly flowing in a distracted manner or a fragile manner, in no particular motion, in its own way, then it becomes the mind. Buddhehe sakshitaya sthitva. This consciousness, this awareness, it casts its awareness on the buddhi. The buddhi is the most powerful expression of thought. Buddhi, sthitva, spuran, this consciousness, aham iti iryate. It is called I. This spuran means it shines as I. Aham Brahma. I is that aham. The word aham is being explained here. What is that aham? I or consciousness which casts its light on the intellect, the buddhi. It is casting its light on the other thoughts also, but in the buddhi, it is completely present. There is no, when you go to a hydel power plant, we cannot just go around and play catching game or hide and seek or just hang from something or pull something. It is very serious. It's a matter of, so buddhi is a very serious thing. The mind is relaxed. It has got many things. It can be like a child, it can be like an adult, it can be playful, it can be sad, it can be happy, all these different types of feelings. But buddhi is a very serious expression of the mind. And on that buddhi, this I is shining its light. Paripurnaha paratma asmin dehe. In this body, this consciousness shines its light on the intellect. So what is the difference between buddhi and the intellect in this body? What is the difference between the mind and the intellect? The mind is the thoughts of all that we see, hear, taste, smell, touch. The buddhi is a focused thought which says, see this, and then it proceeds with that and focuses on something. The buddhi is that thought which says, hear this. Selecting many, among many, it selects one and says, focus on this. Focus on listening to this music, or focus on listening to this thought or talk, or focus on studying this scripture, or focus on enjoying and celebration on Deepavali, and then doing only that. That is a buddhi. And this consciousness enlivens that buddhi, means it supports that action. It blesses that action completely. It blesses that that motion or flow of that thought in this manner towards a particular object, chosen object. Buddhehe sakshitaya stitva. This consciousness is a sakshi for the buddhi. Spurati, spuran. How does it shine? This consciousness shines as I. Aham iti iryate. That is how it is called. Paritaha puryate anena iti paripurnaha. This consciousness is paritaha puryate. All around us, outside and inside, this consciousness is filled. This consciousness is filled by itself. Nothing other than that is there. This I is filled everywhere, all around us. So it is, even in our modern scientific talks and discoveries, people are getting close to understanding this consciousness in many ways, though the Vedas have given the clear means by which we can realize consciousness in subjects like quantum physics and subjects like the past life regression or the future regression. Those books written by qualified medical psychiatrists who have studied the mind and who have also studied the scriptures of the Indian tradition, like the Yoga Sutras, the Yoga Shastras, and many other Upanishads also they will have studied. And very surprising when you read certain books, They may not be aware that they're talking about this I, but they just express it so beautifully. Like, for example, this Dr. Michael Newton, he's a psychiatrist. He's written two very great books after 30 years of research on past life regression and life between lives regression. It is a it has got a scientific basis. It is not, it is a qualified medical practice. He's a medical practicing psychiatrist and he treats his patient just like Dr. Brian Weiss. And this Dr. Michael Newton has written these two books, Journey of the Soul and Destiny of the Soul. I think in the Destiny of the Soul, it's a very big book. Journey of the Soul is a thinner one, and this Destiny of the Soul is an expanded version because many people wanted to know more. And he talks about that individual being who dies and just goes away from the body, is able to watch the body being buried, and then that individual is narrating through this person in that state of trance, which is being recorded, and that individual says, I am very big. I am unimaginably great. It is so beautiful to see. He's talking from the perspective of that self, I. That self experience is actually happening for that person. But the Shastras, they tell us so beautifully, it is not something to something to discover in a magical method. We just have to contemplate on these verses, purifying the mind and contemplating on these Mahavakyas, we can attain to that experience of the self. Paripurnaha, that is what it was striking because I've studied these Upanishads, and when I read those books and that doctor is saying the self is very beautiful, it is indescribable, it is unimaginable, we can't even relate to properly in our human language. So it relates so much to what the Upanishads are talking about, the glory of the self. The fourth verse, Swatah Purnah Paratmatra Brahma Shabdena Varnitaha Asmityaikya Paramarshaha Tena Brahma Bhavam Yaham. So the previous verse spoke about Aham, I. I is that Sakshi of the intellect. Buddhi is that I, consciousness. Now what is this Brahma Asmi? These two words are being explained. Swatah Purnaha Paratma Atra, infinite Swataha Purnaha, by itself it is complete. The supreme truth, supreme reality, Brahman, doesn't need anybody, any galaxy, or any earth, or any human being, or any country, or any knowledge, or any light to complete itself. It is complete by itself. Swatah Purnaha. Para Atma. Para Atma means, we saw the previous word is I, Atma. Now it is talking of Para Atma, the supreme self. There is the I-ness in everybody is Paratma. I-ness, like I may say I, you also will say I. Everybody will say I because they don't need to go to school. Even the small child, as soon as it is born, in 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, it knows to say I am coming, I am listening. The child is able to say I. Why is it able to say? Because that I is there in the child. Paratma Atra. What is being meant by this Brahma? That word Aham, Brahma is there. That Paratma is being referred to as that Brahma. Brahma means Brihatvat, that which is very big, that which is everywhere, that because of which everything is Brahman. Shabdena Varnitaha. That word Brahma describes the Swataha Purnaha Paratma, that self-fulfilling, supreme I-ness. Paratma is mentioned by that word Brahman. Asmi iti, what is that word Asmi? Asmi iti Aikya Paramarshaha. This word Asmi, Aham, Brahma, Asmi, Aikya. What is that? Paratma, the I-ness and the I, the motherhood and the mother, the fatherhood and the father, the brotherhood and the brother, the friendship and the friend, the all these hoods, fatherhood, motherhood, the godhood and the god, the I-ness and the I are one. So that is what is meant by Asmi, I am. When the father says, I am a father, he is not separated from fatherhood. It is that fatherhood in him which is giving him the authority to say that he is a father. When the mother says, I am a mother, that motherhood in the mother is giving her that ability, the capacity to say that she is the mother. Without motherhood, there is no mother. Without fatherhood, there is no father. Without that I-ness, there is no I. So Asmi, that word refers to the Aikyam, the oneness between the I in me and the I-ness that is there everywhere in this universe, in all the people, in all the animals and the living beings. That Chaitanya or the power of consciousness is that I-ness which is there in everything. Tena Brahma Bhavami Aham. Therefore, because that I-ness and I are the same, I am Brahman. I am that supreme Brahman, supreme truth. So it is not for boasting. The fatherhood, the father takes that thought of fatherhood not to boast, but to enjoy that sense of responsibility in taking care of the child very well. The motherhood says she has got motherhood not to boast, but with that motherhood, she takes care of that child very well. And so that is what makes her a great mother, and not because she has become a mother and there's something to boast about it. Even the same way, when I say I am Brahman, there is nothing to boast about it. My sense of responsibility, my sense of duty in this world is as large as Brahman. That is what it means. So this is a very great statement that that gives us a great sense of responsibility and a great sense of peace when we discharge those duties as a representative of that consciousness on this earth. We are one with the cosmos, which is that I, and we and that cosmos are not two different things. So with this, on this wonderful day of Deepavali, we have got to listen about this great Mahavakyas, two great Mahavakyas called Prajnanam Brahma and Aham Brahma Asmi. So we will continue with the series of talks on Vision of Vedanta on the Sunday of November 26, November 26, and from November 26. And then after that, following that will be 5 days of Vision of Vedanta Shravana Sadhana Yajna on Viveka Chudamani. So there is going to be a 2-week gap now when we meet after 2 weeks. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोले श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम।